Good day, I'm Stephen McHugh, and this is your JIS News for Wednesday, July 21. Prime Minister Andrew Holness says government will be taking decisive legislative action to protect the nation's children against corporal punishment. Mr. Holness's call for a ban on the physical abuse of children follows the case of 4-year-old Nashawn Brown, who was reportedly severely beaten by his stepfather. The stepfather has since been charged with cruelty towards a child, assault occasioning bodily harm, and unlawful wounding in relation to the child's mother. A post-mortem report will determine if the suspect faces additional charges. As he condemned Monday's horrifying death of young Nashawn, Prime Minister Holness urged the House of Representatives to have an open and honest conversation about the effects of corporal punishment.
Jamaica must acknowledge that violence is at crisis level in the society, and we must take the necessary legal measures to end it. We can end this epidemic of violence in Jamaica. It is full time that we stop hurting our children in the name of discipline.
The Child Protection and Family Services Agency and the National Children's Registry report that 25 to 30% of child abuse is physical. For the first half of 2021, the National Children's Registry received 1,465 reports of physical abuse, representing 26% of the 5,561 reports of child maltreatment received during the period. Prime Minister Holness is urging the public to report all forms of child abuse by calling 211 or 888-723-3776, sending WhatsApp 876-439-5199 or 876-878-2882, or sending a direct message to Safe Spot Jamaica on Instagram and Snapchat. Gender Minister Olivia Grange is urging men and boys to utilize the initiatives and programs of the Bureau of Gender Affairs. Among the programs are the Positive Fathering Project and the Young Fathers Jamaica Initiative, which are both designed to improve parenting roles and responsibilities. Minister Grange is also calling for men's full participation in shunning negative stereotypes and other hindrances to them playing an active role in their children's lives.
Too often, based on negative cultural stereotypes, we ignore the issues faced by men and boys regarding their emotional state, the structures that influence their masculinity and hinders male participation, or the societal structures that forces them to act out negatively because they are men.
Minister Grange was addressing the recently held Outstanding Father Awards ceremony, where 25 fathers were honored. The annual award was created to celebrate father figures who are inspirational role models in their families and communities. In other news, all 5 zones of special operations, ZOSOs, have been extended for a further 60 days. The areas are Mount Salem and Norwood in St. James, Denham Town in Kingston, as well as August and Greenwich Town in St. Andrew. National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang says the extension is guided by data collected by the Jamaica Defence Force and the Social Intervention Committee. He says the mission is to achieve sustainable community development and build on the gains of earlier efforts. According to Minister Chang, in order to effectively pursue the build phase under the ZOSO, accurate socio-demographic data is being acquired on the entire population within the zones.
This will facilitate the kind of monitoring I alluded to earlier, establishing timelines and deliverables and measuring outcomes in order to ensure that an impactful and successful social investment program is effective in all these communities.
The report from the Joint Select Committee of Parliament that's reviewing the National Identification and Registration NIDS Act 2020 has been tabled. The report has several recommendations and amendments which Committee Chairman Delroy Chuck says will strengthen the bill's legislative system. The Justice Minister says one of the main recommendations is to allow the bill to protect the right to privacy of an enrolled individual as it relates to the protection of his or her data and identity.
Under the present Data Protection Act, they have a 2-year moratorium before they start to examine data collected. We are asking for change to the Data Protection Act for that moratorium to be waived with respect to the National Identification and Registration Act.
The committee has also recommended that the Independent Oversight Authority be strengthened as a commission of Parliament to report directly to the Parliament and be allowed to conduct its affairs independently. The Ministry of Education will this year launch its National Mentorship Program to provide young persons with the guidance and support of experts in their desired fields. Portfolio Minister Favour Williams made the disclosure during a recent sitting of the lower house. She says a cabinet submission will be made next month to approve the program.
These young persons will be chosen from the grassroots or communities and would have shown good attitudes and will go through a program facilitated by the staff of the ministry and partners that will aid in their character development, technical skills, and requisite soft skills that are needed for their success.
And finally, Housing and Urban Renewal Minister Pernell Charles Jr. is calling for greater collaboration among housing stakeholders to halt the spread of informal settlements. The minister made the call during a tour of communities in northwest St. Anne, including Stony Hill, Mount Edgecombe, Seacrest, and Bel Air. Minister Charles Jr. says there's an emerging trend whereby wealthy criminals are building informal settlements and selling to unsuspecting persons. The unplanned developments, he argues, are doing great harm. He's urging persons to take responsibility and report these settlements to the local authorities.
I want you to work with me to make sure that we do not inadvertently allow a situation that is going to impact you. It will devalue your property, and also the unplanned developments that I am seeing are going to affect the water table. It is going to cause pollution going down into water sources that will impact the entire community.
And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Stephen McHugh. Thanks for watching.